So, lads, something changed with the Indiana Fever a couple of days ago, and it was during halftime in this game. And we got to talk about the moment that changed everything for the Fever. We got to talk about the moment that changed everything. And there were a couple of things that happened in this second half that obviously, look, we weren't there. We don't know exactly. But what we can do is we can make kind of almost educated guesses to what what changed, because we've seen a huge change. We've seen a huge change from the Indiana Fever over the last 6 quarters, and especially in the fourth quarter, or sorry, in the Dallas Wings game. And there were two players in particular that I have said that their style of play, regardless of how they're playing, is not going to work long term. And those two players had unbelievable games yesterday. Unbelievable games. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We are so close to 55,000 subscribers, lads. We're not going to hit it by the end of the week, but if we could somehow hit it by All-Star Saturday, by the end of All-Star Saturday, that would be insane. Like, our goal was to hit 20,000 by All-Star. It was 25,000 by All-Star last year, I think. I think it was 25,000. If we can somehow hit 55,030 in the last year, which is absolutely nuts. But, yeah, we got to talk about this. We have got to talk about this right here, because Kelsey Mitchell, in the second half of this game, played 10 minutes 40. She did not play in the fourth quarter. Caitlin Clark's plus 21 the second half. The fourth quarter was easily the best quarter that the Fever played all year. That was the Fever playing all year. Like, there are times where, yes, the Indiana Fever have looked pretty damn good in fourth quarters or in quarters, but like some of those times have just been from like their defense being really good or the other team missing shots, just not doing anything, and like crazy shots going in. And they had their best replicable quarter. And if you guys don't know what that means, that's what I always talk about. Like, as a coach, like as someone who's coached an okay level, not WNBA level, not like college level in the States, but a pretty decent level, assistant coach at the semi-professional level. And I've coached basically the highest level, like underage you can coach in Ireland. But my whole philosophy for coaching is always process-based beats results-based. And if you're purely just looking at plus minus, you go results-based. For me, it's always in a playoff setting, you're results-based. But when it comes to regular season, it's better to be process-based, in my opinion, because if you're process-based, you then you can have things that are replicable. And what is replicable? The baskets that Natasha Howard scored in this game. What isn't replicable is Natasha Howard getting in Caitlin Clark's way and stopping her from scoring a layup. Like, they just didn't mesh. And we all talked about this, and I'm going to specifically talk about how Natasha Howard played. I'm going to go very much over how she played in another video later on today. But we got to give Natasha Howard credit. This is a Kelsey Mitchell from last year's situation all over again. A lot of people are like, it's an Aaliyah situation. But Aaliyah tried to fit in with Caitlin Clark. She didn't try to fit out, whereas Kelsey Mitchell tried to fit out. She tried to not change. Aaliyah Boston tried to adapt, and it took her time to just get up to the pace. Kelsey Mitchell could get up to the pace. She didn't choose it. It was really post-Olympic break that Kelsey Mitchell really just bought into the Caitlin system. And we heard in interviews around the time of the Olympic break that Kelsey Mitchell was like, they were talking about the All-Star game, and she was like, oh, well, it's good for them, isn't it? It's good for them. And then just like shrugs. So I'd say they probably told her she was gone, and it seemed, or if she didn't buy in, she was gone or something along those lines. But like, what Kelsey Mitchell did post-Olympic break last year was incredible. And that was the version of Kelsey Mitchell that we saw in the Dallas Wings game. And look, the Dallas Wings don't get back on defense. That is a fact. They don't run back on defense. They are terrible. They are terrible. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how bad they are. If you are getting stops and you're playing defense and you're running, the Dallas Wings are not a bad offensive team. They put up 83 points. But the Indiana Fever put up 102. The Indiana Fever had a 4-quarter stretch. And by the way, the only reason the Indiana Fever put up 102 was they subbed off all their players. They subbed off every one of their players with like 5 minutes to go. They could have had 110, 120. Like, if you look, the Indiana Fever had 64 points in the first half after 59 here. And they were the halves where Caitlin truly did go. And, like, we went into halftime, the start of the third quarter. I just want to see at what point did the Indiana Fever hit 80 points? Because 80 points is really, like, when they took the foot off the gas. So this is cute. This is the wrong game. I want to see when the Indiana Fever hit 80 points in this game. So they hit 80 points like halfway through the third. So they had 16 points realistically, halfway through the third, or just over halfway through the third. So they would have been on for getting 96 points. Like, if they kept their speed up, they would have had like 95 points going into the fourth quarter. And that's if they kept up the Caitlin Clark speed. They took off some players, they made subs, they took their foot off the gas. It's hard to do. Like, what's the point of... There's no point of winning by 50, of, like, going out to win by 50 if it will tire you out. There's no point going out there to win by 50 when you just showed what you showed. And it seems like something happened in halftime. And there were a lot of other things, in my opinion, that were kind of big in that. Like, obviously, we saw what happened around halftime. We saw the two of them getting into it. But also, I think the second half rotations from Stephanie White, where Caitlin didn't play with Kelsey, Caitlin didn't play with Natasha Howard, and suddenly the Indiana Fever looked like the best damn team in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark without either of those. And, like, everyone's talking about, oh, Dantas needs to start. If you're looking at Dantas' percentage, man, Dantas was on the floor playing shooting guard and you're shooting step backs. Like, late on in that game, Dantas was literally just out there shooting step backs. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Dantas was having to be their shot creating guard with the bench lineup at the end of the game. But, yeah, it was a big change. And Natasha Howard and Kelsey Mitchell played their game. First play of the game, by the way. First play was exactly something that we have not seen this year. Or if we have seen it, we've seen it very limited. The Kelsey Mitchell cut. The Kelsey Mitchell cut. Like, people don't remember how Kelsey Mitchell got most of her points. Last year. Running in transition, back cuts, and spot ups. That was 90% of Kelsey Mitchell's points last year. And the first play of the game was a Kelsey Mitchell backdoor cut. Like, wait, sorry, it wasn't. It was the second play of the game. It was the second play. But it was her first bucket, was off a backdoor cut. And that's easy. That's easy. Nobody cuts like Kelsey Mitchell cuts. When Kelsey Mitchell wants to be this, I've always said this. I've described Kelsey Mitchell as sometimes Clay, sometimes Arike. Whereas Arike only knows how to be Arike, and when Arike doesn't have the ball, she not only doesn't even become Clay, she becomes, I don't know, the worst player in the WNBA. Like, there's no, like, kind of in between. But Kelsey Mitchell has two versions of Kelsey. It's like she's got the angel and the devil on her shoulder. The angel is saying, get it back to Caitlin and cut. You're going to get wide open. And the devil is saying, dribble 17 times and shoot a fadeaway floater. And by the way, she hit some of them. And when Kelsey Mitchell is doing the right things 90% of the time, you then are a lot more likely to just be less annoyed when she does something crazy. Because let's be real, Caitlin Clark does something occasionally crazy. And you get annoyed when she's consistently doing crazy shit, but when you're consistently doing smart stuff and you occasionally do something crazy, it's fine. Late in the shot clock, we saw it with Natasha Howard. One or two times she got the ball with 8 seconds to go in the shot clock. Then she went to work in the post. And you're like, good. That is what your game is. Your game is late in the shot clock. The Fever have nothing. You can go. The Fever didn't have a Natasha Howard beforehand. You can go. That's your job. And as well as that, you had like Kelsey Mitchell as well doing that. And Natasha Howard cutting. Almost everything she got was from cuts. To the basket, which is, in my opinion, incredible. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, it's a big one. It is a real big one for the Fever. And I think the way the Fever are playing, like, Caitlin Clark is currently the orchestrator. And I don't think people realize that when Caitlin Clark runs. When Caitlin Clark runs, anything is possible. When you run with Caitlin Clark, you're going to get open. If Caitlin Clark is fine with averaging 14 points per game, if she averages 14 and 13 assists per game, she's going to win an MVP. She's going to be the orchestrator. She's fine being the Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was never leading the scorer on the Lakers, but we knew who their best player was. And the thing is, if you played with Magic Johnson, you knew you were getting easy looks. And if these players realize they're playing with Magic Johnson, and yeah, Magic might be the star of the show. Magic might be who they're here to watch. But you know what? You can eat. Everyone eats. When Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hands, everybody eats. And that is something that just happened at halftime. They stopped this Caitlin Clark off the ball bullshit. And they started playing with Caitlin Clark on the ball 85% of the time. You can play her off the ball 15% of the time, but Caitlin Clark on the ball 85% of the time. And a lot of people are calling out Ari McDonald for not looking Caitlin off. Look, Ari McDonald 3 times dribbled to the right-hand side of the floor, and Caitlin Clark was wide open 10 feet away from her. And she was tunnel vision on the other side of the floor. I mean this when I say this. Nobody would have expected Caitlin Clark to be wide open 10 feet away. The wings were just that bad on defense. So I'm not going to blame her for that. Like, a lot of times at point guards, you have to read the game. Sometimes point guards miss people wide open. Wide open under the basket when other teams just forget about it. And I don't think anyone expected that. But anyway, I'll see you guys.